Joseph Gordon-Levitt! I don't really remember a lot about that movie, but I do remember them saying you can't go through life thinking everyone you ever meet will someday let you down.
That really resonated with you, huh?
Yeah, it really did. I'm Hannah Kaiser, and this is The Bandwagon. Last week we tried to do something a little bit different, and I bandwagoned the Zombie Marlins. That was fun. Who doesn't love a chance to dunk on a franchise that insists on tearing the whole thing down anytime they actually get good? But frankly, to keep up with all the players that have gotten better now that they're not Marlins, it's just spreading my fandom way too thin. So we're going back to the single team structure. And since this past weekend was Father's Day, I'm bandwagoning the Angels.
Yeah! Not the Padres? Liar!
I should clarify, my dad has spent his entire life in the greater Philadelphia area exhibiting far more baseball loyalty than you might think, considering me. And if I really loved to, I'd bandwagon the Phillies despite their recent struggles. That's a joke, I love you, Dad. But recently, completely unsolicited and without any presumption that it would appear on this show, he sent me this. He said, "The Angels are my new AL team. Not that they are going anywhere. We just enjoyed the game. Not a great stadium. First time seeing Trout in person." He went on to explain that he needs a new West Coast team to watch after the Phillies broadcast ends. He had previously been a secondary Dodgers fan because of Vince Scully and Chase Utley, but since they retired, he now hates the Dodgers. About Mike Trout, he says, "You can tell that he is very good."
Is that right? 1 for 1?
The other team does seem to want to avoid him.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Come up!
The Angels have the best player in baseball, a future first ballot Hall of Famer, and the most all-around talented person to play the sport anywhere in the world, and those are 3 different guys. None of whom are Hansel Robles, the occasional closer who comes out to a 2-minute long music video scored by The Undertaker's theme song and featuring what appears to be stock footage that could either be a Y2K era screensaver or the credit sequence for softcore erotica. Right now, you can watch a former Rookie of the Year and 3-time MVP chase Willie Mays for 5th on the all-time home run leader list because at 39 years old, Albert Pujols is still playing baseball all the time out in Anaheim. He is the only active player in the top 30 career home run leaderboard. You should watch him close out his career and continue to rack up stats because why else are the Angels paying him millions of dollars a year into his 40s? Moving on. What's crazy about Mike Trout isn't that he is the best player in baseball because someone had to be. It is that he is the undisputed best player in baseball. The question now is just whether or not he will be the best player ever to play baseball. And for that, you kind of just have to watch the Angels to find out. Mike Trout is so good.
How good is he?
That we all pretend to be interested in what he has to say about weather. So much of his personality is dedicated to baseball that asked to come up with a single other personality trait, he went with like what is literally the paradigm for boring. He's a fan of weather. Weather, he's a fan.
The pride of the California Angels, Mr. Mike Trout on the phone with us. He is a huge weather nerd.
We probably about got a foot. The wind's just what it's the worst part about it is. It's blowing hard. The roads are terrible. You know, it's awesome. I love it.
Mike Trout is so good.
How good is he?
That he made an entire generation of baseball fans learn what wins above replacement means because there's no better holistic way of conveying how all-around amazing he is. He mainstreamed WAR. He's only 27 years old, and right now there are only 4 active players all in their 30s with a higher cumulative career WAR. The highest active career WAR, do you know? Do you know?
How war is he?
Yes, Albert Pujols, also on the Angels, and yet somehow they're not good. This past week, a 24-year-old who had a 3.31 ERA last year in his rookie season as a pitcher became the first Japanese-born player to hit for the cycle. Shohei Ohtani is the two-way sensation, which is so cool there isn't even a meaningful comparison. Ohtani is actually not pitching this year, which is a shame because he's recovering from Tommy John surgery. Less than a year out from surgery, some people are suggesting that he should stop pitching altogether to focus on hitting, which is literally some Babe Ruth. Ultimately, the main reason to bandwagon the Angels is because guys like Trout and Ohtani are bandwagoning the Angels. Ohtani passed up tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars to join the Angels when he did. This past offseason, Trout essentially committed to spending the rest of his career as an Angel. Sure, the record-setting money probably helps, but if Mike Trout plans to stay with the Angels, it's because he thinks that they're gonna be good someday. And who are you or I to doubt Mike Trout? Root for the Angels! It's what a young, fatherless Joseph Gordon-Levitt would want.
Yeah, JG
Angels of the outfield! What if people did this instead of the wave? They should do that.
They're missing out.
They're really missing out. Huge fan of Angels in the Outfield, one of the most criminally underrated sports movies of all time. All right, let's do fan, not a fan.
Inside the park home runs.
Did you see the Hunter Pence inside the park home run? It was fantastic. Hunter Pence is great. And he hit the ball and it bounced. And then Brock Holt got stuck on the wall. He like jumped to make the catch and he didn't make the catch. He just kind of lay there. It was very funny. You ever like, you're like lying in bed and you like stick your arm up and you're like, this is not more comfortable, but I'm gonna lay like this for a minute anyway. He basically like just did that. The ball continued to be in play and Hunter Pence had a stand up inside the park home run. He sits in the dugout and he goes like, that count? That count? I love inside the park home runs. They're fantastic. First episode, move the fences back, more inside the park home runs.
Balks.
Intentional balks or unintentional balks?
Intentional balks. What camera are you looking at?
We had the first ever, I don't know if that's true, but let's go with it, intentional balk. Kenley Jansen was worried that the guy on second was stealing signs. Kenley Jansen was like, that, I just want him to go to third. So he intentionally balked and like not even like balked and then like later was like, oops, I did it on purpose. He just like overtly intentionally balked and then the guy had to go from second to third so he couldn't keep stealing the signs. Oh, I'm a huge fan. If you can do that, you should do that. And you can't refuse a balk. I looked into this. You can't be like, no thanks, I'd like to stay here. And you also can't steal the base backwards. There was a guy in the 1800s who used to do that.
Old House Radburn? No.
Sure, it's not, but that'd be great.
Ballpark mayonnaise.
Some guy in a minor league baseball stadium was eating mayonnaise out of the jar with a big ass spoon. He's just trolling us, right? Mayonnaise is fine. Like anti-mayonnaise rhetoric is confusing to me. Not a fan of eating mayonnaise straight, but fan of mayonnaise.
A-Rod and J-Lo on Instagram.
I love A-Rod and J-Lo on Instagram. Did you see that A-Rod commented on J-Lo's pictures of Mark Antony for Father's Day? J-Lo posted a picture of Mark Antony with the children that they share and was like, whatever, happy Father's Day. And then like extremely secure himself, A-Rod commented and was like, indeed, happy Father's Day, Mark. I'm a huge fan of their Instagram presence. I don't know, man. I believe in these rich freaks. They're gonna make it.
Twitter.
Hate it. Scourge on society. Not a fan. I mean, no one is a fan of a thing they're addicted to, right?
Hawaiian pizza.
I actually think Hawaiian pizza is not as bad as people say it is. But here's the thing. So you got your meat, you got your pineapple, that's good. What you need is something spicy. Like a jalapeno, like a chili oil, some pepper flakes. As long as you got a spicy element on there, you got sweet, you got savory, you got spicy, it's good. Fan. All right, let's do a humble proposal. In keeping with this week's theme, also because I didn't get him a present, I asked my dad what is the one thing he would change about baseball, and he proposed banning the shift. Unlike some of my suggestions, he's actually in line with what Major League Baseball has been actively considering in an effort to cut down on the number of groundouts by guys who can't do anything but pull the ball. While this is a worthy enough endgame, I actually don't really love legislating on-field strategy like that. And so, sorry Dad, this humble proposal is for the players themselves. Learn to beat the shift. Over time, this has the same effect on the overall game as explicitly stipulating a more traditional defensive alignment. Once a guy manages to get a base hit on a soft bunt enough times, teams will start playing him more straight away. I understand that pitchers are pitching specifically to get guys to hit into the shift, but we're talking about major league hitters here. If they can figure out how to turn on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and send it into the seats, they can learn to hit a slow roller oppo. Just like everyone else from the Philly area, I understand the impulse to ban the shift, but it is too late to save Ryan Howard's career anyway. Everyone else, learn to save yourselves.
Yeah, one take.
This week, my dad is bandwagoning the Angels, and so I'm going to give it a try too.
Kaiser.
Shout out to Bob. Other things I'm a fan of. A lot of good things that happened in baseball this week. Inside the park home runs, intentional balks. Hawaiian pizza is fine. A-Rod and J-Lo are adorable on Instagram. However, bad on Twitter like everybody else. Mayonnaise in the outfield, not a fan. Angels in the outfield, I'm a fan. Apparently Matthew McConaughey was one of the outfielders in Angels in the Outfield, so we are ending this episode right here so I can go watch Angels in the Outfield. How's that?
All right.
All right.